Welcome back. As we promised, we are going to discuss a very important topic regarding tourism, which is yachting tourism. And on Saturday, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli held a meeting to study a strategic plan to promote this type of tourism. To shed more light on this, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Nagham Ismail, our tourism expert. A very good morning to you, Dr. Nagham.
Good morning. How are you?
Dr. Nagham, let's speak first about yachting tourism. To what extent it's important, and if we do have yachting tourism, to what extent it's going to boost our tourism sector in general?
First, good morning, and I wish everybody a pleasant day. Being in the summer season and knowing that Egypt is having a strategic location within the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, this sheds light on the importance of yachting tourism, and on the other hand, the President has shed light as well and stressed on working on the yachting tourism because of its importance, because of the vision, the strategic vision on the tourism sector. This was the importance of it. But talking about as well yachting, it's important to know that yachting industry is full of competitors, whether professionals, amateurs, and racing of boats started in Holland and then introduced to England and America in the 17th century. Since then, this yacht tourism have its own importance, has been organized a lot of activities. There is a yacht club around the world. It's part of the social and recreational purposes that boost tourism. Yacht has a lot of sailing boats, a lot of different boats that can be traced around the world, and there is a lot of important races that are known around the world. Of course, as Egypt is having a strategic location on both Mediterranean and Red Sea, knowing that the Red Sea and the Mediterranean are really great seas, we have a great weather. We have all the aspects that can make us work on the yacht tourism and improve it, have a location around the world in having races, tourism, and increase this part.
Yeah.
In order to boost that, we have to look into the ports that are available around Egypt. Why do we look into that? Because the ports around Egypt are really a lot, whether on the Mediterranean or on the Red Sea. You have Alexandria, you have El Sahel, where we have Alamein city that can really a great spot to be featured for the marketing of tourism in Egypt. You have Port Said, and we started to have hotels there as well. You have Suez, you have Safaga, you have Hurghada, you have Nuweiba, you have Ras Sidi, you have Sharm Sheikh. And this goes along as well. I haven't listed, of course, all the ports in Egypt, but this is part of it.
Those are the main. But ma'am, if I may interrupt here, what you're saying would change the tourism map in Egypt, the programs of tourists. This can be of an added value. Of course, this nothing would take the eyes from Luxor, from the cultural tourism, but yachting, with all what you're saying, can change the whole map of tourism in Egypt?
It can add, not change, because we have a plan that are put since some time, which is having a calendar of events for Egypt. So we have the tourism that comes to Egypt during winter.
Yeah.
So in winter time, you have the cultural tours that are the most popular because of the weather. Mm-hmm. Of course, you can add a racing in the Nile, again, because you can extend with that the calendar for the cultural tours. So instead of having, for example, only the winter season, you can add additional 1 or 2 months to that. So instead of starting the calendar of the culture tours in October, you might start it in September by a racing in the Nile, for example, yachting racing, race in the Nile. But again, it's not only that. You are adding an event to Egypt. You have film festivals. You could have yacht festival and yacht race and add it to the world map of races. So this could add, it's like a strategic planning for the tourism. Since you have all the good things that can be implemented, you have the weather, you have the beautiful sea, you have related to that, you have the people who come for diving, for water racing, you have, of course, the wind racing boat. So you have a lot of things that can go around that. So it's a start to do things.
This was my coming question, ma'am, regarding studying the whole issue thoroughly before launching this officially, if I may say so, or describe it this way. As I was saying yesterday, there was a very important meeting presided by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli to study a strategic plan for boosting this type of tourism. Competitiveness is a key word here. How or to what extent, or to be accurate, how much time do we need to after exerting serious efforts, of course, to go into this market and to achieve tangible results on the ground with such a fierce competition between Egypt and many other countries, particularly the Med countries?
That's a good start. When you have a plan, when you have a strategic plan to go into this market of tourism, you have to study a lot of things. And last year, I remember that was a meeting held to study the yacht harbor, for example, in Nagham. So in order to go into that, you have to study a lot of things. And you could have a plan that goes strategically so that you go step by step into this tourism field. First, you have to study the harbors and what are the obstacles that are available or not are available, that are existing in each harbor. And you can list all the harbors and start one by one in order to make sure that you start going smoothly and with the proper conditions and to be ready. Because if you start with a good, strong start that impacts this tourism, you will have a great presence into that. So if we take, for example, as we are talking, the Alamein. Alamein now is ready to receive visitors, and not only visitors, international visitors. It's been promoted and built in order to have this kind of tourism. So if you build, and if the harbor, if we have a harbor there, if we have a place to have yacht tourism in Alamein, that's a good start, because we are already working in this area. Everybody is having Alamein as a spotlight in Egypt to be promoted. So if you work around this area in particular, you can have the first step into this yacht tourism. But this does not mean that you will leave the rest of the tourism, because again, talking about different seasons, as you have asked previously, is this going to change our calendar? It will change, yes, it will extend the calendar. So if you take Alamein, for example, it's a summer season. You can go and have yacht tourism, for example, during the winter when you have a lot of wind, the harbor might not be good. I don't know, I'm not specialized in harbors, but talking about the tourism itself, the best time is to promote it from March, for example, until September. So you are extending the season. You are having new areas in the map. You are having calendar of events, including the yacht tourism. And this would lead us into what are the measures for the yacht tourism in order to be there. So you have to study what do you need. Is it the harbor? Is it the machines? Is it what kind of yachts are you going to have? Are you going to have
And to
wind
train
boats?
the human cadres too, training the human cadres, because the human cadres are going to be behind the whole story. It's going to be a story of success if we do have trained cadres to run the whole issue. Do you see the importance, ma'am, of benefiting from the other countries' experience in this issue, in specific training our cadres to maintain the stability or the success of this new branch, relatively, of tourism here in Egypt?
Absolutely. The human factor in Egypt is a great one and is available. We are ready to get trained. I am not excluding that, but the infrastructure to start with should be there. And then, based on the infrastructure and the priorities of the cities that we are going to include for the tourists, you have to look into the human part. The human part now is very important. Safety measures and is very and extremely important in any of these races, in any sport, in anything now. We always include safety measures, human measures, services that are rendered around this particular tourism. So you have to look into that, taking, as you said, the experiences of others. Saudi Arabia is having a race for the Gulf. There is other countries that are having races, that have been implementing races. We could have experts who can help us, whether from the whole world or from the Arab world, that could help us looking into the measures that we should implement. Based on that as well, you have to work around the marketing part. You have Egypt websites. You have to have as well a website for these races and work out in order to sell it for the other parts of the world, for the professional racers in this particular tourism. And you can split the yacht tourism into a lot of key boat tourism that can be around the whole year, around different boat racing. You have the wind in Ras Sed, so we could have races for that.
Yeah.
And you could promote as well Ras. So it's a part of marketing and strategic planning.
Yeah, and this was my last question, ma'am. Marketing and propaganda. When do you think it's the perfect timing to start propagating for this, and how? Social media should play an important part. Banners in our airports, for example, speaking about the coming programs we are going to have, pamphlets distributed via all the public or private tourism companies. How we can propagate for that?
That's a great and a very important question. And the answer, I would give you a very prime example that we have been experiencing, which is the Grand Museum.
Yeah.
The Grand Museum, we have been talking about it since we have started building it. So now you can start. We are building the harbor to be yacht harbor. So that's a start, as I'm saying, it's a prime example. After building, we started to have, along with it, some visits, inspections, expertise, talks around it, whether in the social media, in the main pages, on the website, inviting people to give us experiences, to give us the feedback, show face for the whole world that we are going into this process. After that, we had the parade for the pharaonic. And parallel to it, we have mentioned the Grand Museum, what's going to happen in it. This is another museum. So it's a prime example of the process. But very important that we take every aspect and ensure that we are mentioning and stressing and ensuring and all the good points, that safety measures.
Yes, ma'am. We started the story, and inshallah, it's going to be a story of success to be added to our stories of success regarding our tourism sector. Dr. Nagham Ismail, our tourism expert, thank you very much for your valuable input, ma'am, and have a very good day. And by this we come to the end of this edition of our breakfast show. You were in the company of my dear colleague Hala Al-Hamalawi and myself Nermeen Abdurrahman. Tomorrow is another day with another crew. Stay tuned on Nile TV International, and for more details and updates please log on to www.nileinternational.net. Many thanks for watching.